You're a scam, I'm a scam, we're all scams. Welcome to Scambuster Saturday, where we help you decide whether or not something is a scam by looking at the same set of 12 objective criteria. Today we'll be evaluating Ethereum.
Awesome. So let's go to the canonical questions. We ask the same questions of every single project, every single week. It's kind of like Pinky in the Brain, right? What do you want to do this Saturday, Nicole? Well, maybe not try to take over the world. Let's make sure that no projects that could be scams take over the world by helping the audience decide. The first question is, before we even get into that list, let's ask, why is there controversy surrounding this one? It's such a high market cap coin, and there's a lot of trust being given to this coin. Within cryptocurrency, the cypherpunks would say, hey, don't trust, verify. But there's some controversy, which I think is what brought us to this point. You and I have even said we've got a bias towards ETH. We've been looking at it very uncritically in recent months, especially with the rise of DeFi. But it begs that question, should we extend it so much trust? The controversy, though, it stems from the DAO hack and then a couple of other things as well. The accusation of centralization, which in this space is a dirty word, right? We don't want anything to be centralized because it's a central point of failure and it requires trust in whoever holds the reins of that central authority. But centralization concerns with EEA. Then Vitalik has made some off-putting comments regarding pedophilia specifically, which in 2020, that's one of the few places, even if you think you're joking, you just can't go there. Those of us who are parents, like you and I are.
So I just want to jump in here and say that Vitalik wasn't saying that he's pro pedophilia. He was comparing the legalization of child pornography to the legalization of heroin, not saying that he was for or against either thing. I'm not real clear on the details of the case, but of course it's very important with everything that's going on in what we're finding out about the extent of child trafficking.
Absolutely. Not saying that Vitalik has condoned that behavior, but even with that very rational argument, it's one of those things that gets you to perk up yours. It would be a bit like saying that you would accept free press from Adolf Hitler. It just doesn't play well. In the end, tends to bite you in the butt. So yeah, multiple co-founders have also left this project. That's another thing to be aware of.
7 out of 8 of Ethereum's co-founders have left to go on to found their own project.
There you go. All of them. Disagreements couldn't be resolved. They didn't figure out a cohesive vision. And again, that leads us back to that concept of centralization, even within these projects that are free and open source in their nature, but there needs to be a sort of cohesive vision. But we'll talk about that as we go through the checklist. Anyone can build on it, making it a platform on which multiple scams have launched, confirmed scams. And so is that good, bad? Does that make Ethereum itself a scam? Well, we'll go through the checklist so we hold it to an objective standard.
To me, one of the funny things about the argument that Ethereum is a scam is that it suffers simultaneously from accusations that it's too centralized to accusations that it's too decentralized. Because if a truly decentralized platform were built, how could anybody ever stop anything, scam or not, from being built on top of it? It's just kind of a funny paradox that I see with the Ethereum critics.
Absolutely. And by Vitalik's own argument from before, that rational argument, one of the problems with publishing anything in a decentralized world and on free and open source software is that once you say it's completely decentralized and completely censorship free, you open the floodgates for anyone to publish anything, whether you agree with it or not. So it's a bit of a Pandora's box that way. But final checkpoint on the list here for the controversy is multiple delays in launching Ethereum 2.0. And this is, we're getting tired of even making the joke. Everybody just knows that Ethereum 2.0 is not ready. And that if we're ever given a date, we should take that with a couple barrels of salt because it just hasn't happened yet. So lots of controversy, lots of points that I think, yeah, for some investors, institutional money, and for some even just at-home users who may be considering, should I mine and hold Ethereum, or should I try to acquire the necessary 32 Ethereum to prepare for staking ETH 2.0? Well, these points have come up. They've been a sore spot for a lot of people. But what other stuff do you think of, though, when people say, well, I don't know, Ethereum, could be scammy. You even hear that anymore?
I don't hear that ETH is a scam very often anymore, but I suppose that it really depends on what circles you run in. So if you're hanging out with, the BSV crowd, then yeah, you're going to hear Ethereum is the biggest scam of all time, over and over and over again. So it really kind of depends. I mean, I think maximalist circles in general dislike anything that isn't their own coin, but specifically with Ethereum, I hear it very not very often.
Sure, that makes sense. That makes sense in that context with BSV attempting to, well, not just attempting, but actually building services on top of their network that currently offer microtransactions and offer, I think, some tokenization and some asset issuance down the line with sort of an evolution of the Omni layer protocol, but on BSV. Can totally see how that would be really common water cooler talk there. BTC maximalists as well, right? They love to trash anything that isn't BTC. So yeah, you're going to hear it from some camps. And then, of course, another camp in which it's really not popular is in the LTC. I don't know if there's such a thing as an LTC maximalist, but Litecoin community, they don't tend to be really not always the most vocally critical of Ethereum, but not the most supportive of Ethereum. And then finally, if you look at the magical internet friends, right, to round out the list, you've got the Monero maximalists who very much are privacy maximalists. And their whole thing, they tend to kind of ironically also be really big on Bitcoin, maybe not so much Litecoin, but very much wary of Ethereum because they like the hard currency aspect of their cryptocurrencies. So weird space.
That's really interesting because doesn't Monero also
No, it
not have
doesn't.
a hard
It doesn't.
cap
It's
on the
also
total
infinitely
amount
emitted.
of currency that will be
Yeah.
issued?
Yeah. Yeah. But on that note, why don't we jump into the questions? Let me ask you, Nicole, do they make bombastic claims?
So while I've never seen Vitalik or anyone on the Ethereum core team make claims that guarantee investor returns, bombastic claims aren't limited to promises of ROI. From its inception, Ethereum has been a huge project aiming to provide multiple solutions for everything from gaming and developers to enterprise blockchain, DeFi, and beyond. So, might Ethereum's claim that they'll be able to handle transactions at scale while still providing a decentralized platform on which developers can build a multitude of applications itself be bombastic?
Yeah,
Uh,
potentially. Uh, I was not in, right? I was not invested in cryptocurrency at the time, but I did know people who were, and they were concerned when Ethereum first launched itself as a token sale, asking people to pay Bitcoin in exchange for this new project that would launch and do all this stuff, and literally throwing their money into the ether because they would get ether.
I'm not sure. A few of the things, from Ethereum's website, the found that they claim they'll be building or have built the foundation for our digital future, open access to digital money and data friendly services regardless of background or education. Now, to me, this seems a little bit, I don't know, perhaps bombastic because, well, saying that people will be able to access their digital money without background or education means that it won't be equal. Those who have training with computers will obviously be advantaged. Next,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Technology is a barrier.
banking for everyone, a more private internet, a peer to peer network, censorship resistance, commerce guarantees, and compatibility
Wow.
by
Okay. Yeah,
default.
bombastic claims to be sure, but I don't know that all of those have been proven false. By the same token, and I know we'll come back to that at a later point in the questionnaire.
So, Seth, the next
But
question on our list, is there a tiered referral system?
no, no, there is not, unless you count tokens launched on Ethereum for which there may be a referral incentive.
But
So
Ethereum can't really be held responsible for what's built on
yeah,
top of it, can
we're
it be,
definitely
Seth?
not. We're definitely not. But the controversy, to go back to that controversy, a lot of that controversy stems from people saying, but you enable scams, you enable tiered referral systems because of smart contracts. Yeah, so Ethereum itself, though, no, not to participate with Ethereum and Ether, its own token.
All right, so let's have you answer the next question as well. Where can Ethereum be traded or used?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, we don't have enough hours in a day. Here's the thing, because Ethereum is such a high market cap coin, anybody who's watching this who isn't already aware, it can be traded basically anywhere the cryptocurrency is traded, almost anywhere. There are some Bitcoin centric exchanges that maybe don't list it, but that's so rare as to be almost laughable. But the major players, Binance, Huobi, OKX, KuCoin, Coinbase Pro, of course, Coinbase, not even the Pro account, if you want to do just purchase Ethereum directly by funding one of your accounts there. You can buy that way. Hit BTC, BitMax, Kraken, all of the major players. Couple that are probably noteworthy that we don't have on the list right here, but are of huge interest to privacy advocates and for privacy enthusiasts would be Trade Ogre. Trade Ogre does have the Ethereum trading pair for a few coins, not everything, but it's there. So something to be aware of if you like your non-KYC exchanges. So anywhere you can find crypto, you can probably find Ethereum. And then,
with the obvious exception of programs like Cash App that are Bitcoin specific or built for Bitcoin specific, I don't know, payments.
absolutely. So let's talk about where it's used, though. You can exchange it and trade it and buy it on in some of those places, but any place that processes payments using BitPay, which is what Nicole uses most frequently for small businesses that she's convinced to accept crypto because it can auto convert to fiat. That is one thing that BitPay does very well as a bit of a turnkey solution for commerce
Yeah,
and
on
e-commerce.
BitPay, I know that it's not a perfect solution and that some people are really dissatisfied with the fact that people have their payments auto converted
Yeah.
to, USD or fiat when Bitcoin is a superior asset.
Yeah.
I don't really want to get into all of that. Shop owners have to pay their employees, and
100% agreed. The beautiful part about BitPay also is that for companies that or businesses that want to dip their toes into the cryptocurrency water and still want to be able to have those assurances of decreasing the volatility of Bitcoin or Ethereum, they can auto convert just a percentage to cover their bases, right? So to cover the cost basis of their operations, and then whatever's in their profit margin, they can retain that in the native coin. So they can continue to stack sats.
yeah, so I don't think that's actually true with BitPay anymore. I know that originally, years ago, businesses had the option of whether they wanted to fully convert or convert only a portion of whatever they take in. But in the last, year, I've set up probably a dozen businesses to accept
Hmm.
cryptocurrency via BitPay, and it's not an option anymore. It's all that the merchant is rewarded in the USD value of the purchase at the time of purchase.
That's got to be it. It's got to be that it's changed in that amount of time. Because for my part, I haven't set up a business to use BitPay in that way in easily 18 months or more. So that must have been a policy that they changed wholesale. And well, if anybody from BitPay is watching, shame on you guys. Change that back. That was really
There
convenient.
may be a reason for it that we just don't know, though, right?
Maybe, but hey, here, listen to your market. It could be that there's some people that want to have that back, but it can be used in solutions like BitPay. It can be used for staking rewards in the future, right? 32 Ethereum will entitle the ETH 2.0 participants to stake. Can be used on some DeFi platforms for
It can
staking
be used for
rewards, and
staking
then
in
some
some DeFi
dark.
projects
Yeah,
now.
absolutely, right now. So you can participate in yield farming with Ethereum, and then other token pairs that trade against Ethereum or that need to use Ethereum. And of course, in order to send any kind of tokens issued on Ethereum, you need to use Ethereum to pay for gas, right? You need to pay for transactions in Ethereum. So absolutely has to be used there. If you're into DeFi at all, you're using Ethereum also. And then some dark web markets allow ETH payments. Now, if you had told me that a year ago, I'd say that's crazy. Why would you do that? But with some more mainstream mixers, a la Tornado Cash, that starts to make more sense to me now. But is it legal in the United States and other regulated countries? Why? Why not?
Yes, Ethereum is legal in the US with many American companies on the EEA. Despite some controversy over how the team ran the token sale in June of 2018, the SEC officially ruled that Ethereum is not a security, despite what some community members have said. Although many have cited that the SEC was wrong in their decision, that's kind of irrelevant now. In any case, we absolutely know that Ethereum is not illegal and will not be retroactively deemed a security. If you're interested in more of that history and about the SEC decision and about the community members who say that that decision was incorrect, please check the references in the written version of this below here. Now, Seth, next question. Do actual
Well,
experts endorse it?
like most of these projects that we talk about, the answer is a little more complicated. Numerous people who've been active in the cryptography and development of Bitcoin from its inception have touted Ethereum's merits. Even Nick Szabo, who many insist is the man behind Bitcoin's mysterious creation. For me, I'm not convinced that that's the case, but clearly instrumental in the development of Bitcoin and very much a loud and visible proponent of Bitcoin. He's expressed excitement over what Ethereum could offer. And then recently, Andreas Antonopoulos acknowledged that Ethereum-based DeFi can be used to generate passive income. Beyond that, Andreas Antonopoulos wrote a book about understanding and mastering Ethereum. So clearly, there's quite a bit of advocacy, at least from that level, where he's trying to teach developers how to build on top of Ethereum. So if these guys can't be called experts, I don't know who can. There are definitely some experts, though, in terms of the op-ed space, journalism, and then the an advocacy from other coin projects who, as we mentioned before, continue to cast aspersions and doubt on Ethereum as a legitimate, decentralized project. Yeah, but let me ask you, who is Ethereum marketing to? Noobs or savvy buyers?
Well, so I think that you could make the argument that ETH maybe is marketed to the ignorant because it's available for purchase on, apps like Coinbase where people can buy directly from their debit or credit card. That said, in reality, I don't think that Ethereum is really marketed to anyone, noobs or savvy buyers. Although founder and frontman Vitalik Buterin has acknowledged that a lack of focus on marketing the base layer protocol was a mistake, I haven't seen much to indicate that will change anytime soon or that that already has changed. Maybe the team is just waiting until they've officially rolled out ETH 2.0 to start redirecting funds to a marketing budget, but that's just speculation. From my perspective, it doesn't really seem like Ethereum is marketed to anyone at this time.
Yeah, totally.
Which brings us to this next point. Who's on the team?
Let's take a look at who's on the team. And then the question we always ask is, are they real, pseudonymous, or are they flat out fake? That would be the biggest red flag. In this case, not fake, not pseudonymous, they're real people. And top of the list right now, the most visible part of the project today is Vitalik Buterin, young gifted programmer who is a Russian Canadian programmer, ergo the very Russian name, but born and raised in Canada. Writer who co-founded Bitcoin Magazine before he went on to work on projects such as Colored Coins and then spearhead Ethereum. Interestingly, he talks about his early experiences writing those articles and being paid so many Bitcoin per article, which at that time the cost basis for Bitcoin was less than $1, and he was getting paid literally pennies per article. But that that wealth, if he's held on to it, he's irrespective of his Ethereum holdings. Vitalik Buterin is a very wealthy man. So he's still attached to it, though. He's still the main guy. Anthony DeLorio was a financier. Charles Hoskinson, who we've mentioned on this program a couple of times, now most closely associated with Cardano, left in July of 2014. But he was a co-founder of ETH, co-founder of IOHK, a company that is still very active in development of many cryptocurrency projects. And I want to say they still actively contribute to sides of the development, not only of Ethereum, but Ethereum Classic as well. I believe they're part of the Ethereum Classic cooperative. But then most recently Cardano. Mihai Alisi, he was a co-founder of Bitcoin Magazine with Vitalik, VP of Ethereum Foundation until late 2015, and then founder of akasha.org. Amir Chetrit was on the founding team but opted out of the AMA. Joseph Lubin, an entrepreneur and founder of Consensus. Gavin Wood, who is very visible still, a computer programmer who invented Solidity, wrote the Yellow Paper, which, by the way, is where they wrote their manifesto, their anti-ASIC manifesto, calling ASICs, I believe, a cancer in proof of work and committing to GPUs only. So pretty strong wording from Gavin Wood in the Yellow Paper, but then also co-founded Parity Technologies and credited it for coming up with the concept of Web 3.0 itself. I mean, heavy hitter. Additionally, Jeffrey Wilk, he's the creator of Ethereum, or one of the co-founders and co-creators, started the first implementation of Ethereum using the Go programming language in 2013, and he continues along with Vitalik and others such as Hudson Jameson, Afri Shoden, and several others who actually, Afri I think is taking a break. Let's take that back. But they're part of the developer consortium. But Jeffrey Wilk is still very visible in Ethereum development today. The EEA has over 200 members, continues to grow, and some EEA members include Blockchain Research Institute, Hyperledger, Banco Santander, the Bank of New York Mellon, Cambridge Blockchain, CipherTrace, Dragon Chain, the First National Bank of Omaha, the First National Bank of Omaha, as we all know, JP Morgan Chase, and Microsoft. But let me ask you, have the founders made claims that have since been proven false?
Glad you asked, Seth. And yes, Vitalik has claimed that ETH staking would take place at various different times, but has never been able to implement the staking. In fact, there are a number of tasks that should have been completed on the roadmap, which have been continually delayed. And while they haven't been explicitly proven false, Ethereum investors are starting to really wonder what's going on.
Yeah, on this note, it's not exactly a claim that has been proven false, but it is a bit of controversy that just has not been resolved within the development community of Ethereum. ProgPow. ProgPow is such a thorn in the side of Ethereum, talking about specifically the yellow paper and the words that were penned there before by Gavin Wood, and now ProgPow it's been on the docket for an Ethereum improvement proposal for the better part of almost 2 years. And the Ethereum developers just can't seem to reach consensus. They have it audited. They do test nets. They do technical tests to evaluate the technical merit of ProgPow as a proof of work, not alternative, but augmentation to Dagger Hashimoto or ETH hash that runs on GPUs. And they just can't seem to decide if they're in or if they're out. Are they hot? Are they cold? Are they gonna or are they not gonna? And there's still this question mark behind ProgPow. So that's been...
There was supposed to be a contentious hard fork about ProgPow recently, wasn't there, Seth?
Absolutely. I think it just didn't find enough popular support there. But with a contentious hard fork, I mean, that's where Ethereum Classic came from initially. So Ethereum Classic is already on that path. Perhaps if the audience says they want us to evaluate Ethereum Classic using the same criterion, maybe we should do that as well and see if Ethereum Classic, maybe it is the true fork.
Oh no, the Bitcoin argument rearing its ugly
but
head again.
I don't want to get too political or religious today on that one. So yeah, just plenty that's been delayed, plenty that's been deliberated about. In addition to claims being proven false.
All right, Seth, do they have a functioning blockchain or token?
Yes, they do. And it's highly performant. In fact, we use it regularly. I think I sent you something using the Ethereum blockchain just less than a week ago, and it was that transaction took place so fast, confirmed and settled in so little time, and was able to send you the transaction ID on a block explorer. Just very convenient to use for anything that you're using blockchain or cryptocurrencies for transparently. But it's the second largest cryptocurrency by market cap. Currently, more Bitcoin is stored as an ERC20 token in the form of wrapped Bitcoin on Ethereum than there is on the Lightning Network, probably because of the ease of use today. It could be, who knows, this time next year.
It's definitely better than storing your Bitcoin and not having it earn compound interest somewhere.
Absolutely. It's better than burning your Bitcoin, right? So yeah, that makes perfect sense. That said, this time next year, very well may be that the Lightning Network really does grow into maturity, and we start to see that the ease of deployment and the ease of use for Lightning Network, that number starts to shift a little bit more in its favor. But so far, no, not even close. Not after quite a while. Multiple projects are built on top of Ethereum, and it is the top DeFi platform because of that performance. There was a time when it wasn't quite so performant. CryptoKitties comes to mind. But those days are long gone.
So with
Well,
that, it's time for us to move on to our next point, and that is to check the GitHub repository for relevant activity.
absolutely. And the what that is going to go to is the GitHub Ethereum Solidity repository. There are several repositories within Ethereum because they have so many projects going. In addition, there are multiple test nets. I personally have used the Ropsten test net to issue tokens before. So I can say from firsthand experience, having just tested out and followed some tutorials for Solidity, it works. It's relevant, and the activity there is relevant, and you can find good documentation. The smart contract is next,
And so the
though.
next step is
Where
to
would we
check
find
the
a smart
smart
contract for
contract and see
Ethereum?
if it's fair. I put a link for the smart contract in the paper that you can
Okay,
follow below.
so etherscan.io, we've used it before on the show to look up tokens, and etherscan.io is where you'll find any relevant smart contracts that are built on Ethereum, based on Ethereum. And in fact, it is one of the ways in which you can submit your own smart contracts. Um, there are some other steps to take, but the smart contract for Ethereum itself, in terms of tracking contributions and pre-selling Ether on its initial pre-sale, its initial ICO, I don't know if we can track that down easily right now. Most people who bought, if you ask them now, after having traded Bitcoin at that time for Ethereum and then seen the price action, I think most people nowadays with 2020 vision, they think
So
it was
this
fair.
raises a really interesting point, I think. Somebody has mentioned that Ether was pre-mined and so it wasn't fair, but realistically, as long as anybody who was potentially investing in the project was aware of the pre-mine and agreed to it, then I don't see a problem there. The real problem would be if there was a lack of transparency.
Well, why don't we go ahead and wrap this one up? I think for most people, they're going to have their own opinions formed pretty strongly at this point. But what do you think they need to do to get to the point?
The final step is always to listen to your gut or intuition. So, was Ethereum a scam? I don't know. Do your own research. At the end of the day, the only person who can protect you from being scammed is you.
Oh snap! You guys heard it right there, nerd girl. Before we let him go, let me ask, what T-shirt are you wearing today?
So I'm wearing a crypto nerd shirt. It's really difficult to see because I got it in dark blue and the printing is black. So if you're going to pick one up, I recommend that you choose one of the lighter colors that the printing shows up a little bit differently on. As for what we have coming up, we have confirmed, but not the date yet. We have Charles Hoskinson coming on the show, and also we'll be having Jeff Berwick as our guest really soon.
Fantastic. And I think we've got a couple of smaller cap coins as well. The team from Haven, HXV, which has recently made a bit of a stir with its what their contribution to the DeFi scene and the stablecoin scene. They call it offshoring, right? Or offshore storage of digital assets, but they're based on the crypto notes. So they inherit all of the privacy of Monero, but then they have this very interesting conversion mechanism to peg the value of their coin to something like the US dollar, something like gold, something like silver. I think the New Zealand dollar and a couple of others as well. We talked about it on a previous show, but I believe that we are dialing in a date for that team as well. So
With Haven, I'm so excited because I actually found the need for a private stablecoin before I found Haven, just doing some research on the dark web. I'm really, really enthusiastic about Haven's future, and I'm really, really looking forward to talking with their development team.
awesome, awesome. Well, audience, thanks so much. Go ahead and
Oh, and I forgot to mention that we're going to be giving away some Garbage Pail Kids
oh my
NFT.
gosh, we can't make an announcement there. Nicole, don't tease them. Don't be a tease. Yeah, right. No, it's yeah, you can totally leave it in. Go ahead and tease them anyway. But guys, go ahead and hit up the store. As you see all of Nerd Girl's designs, that's what's available in the link that you see hovering over the video right now. Appreciate you guys being tuned in today. And we need a different sign up because we wind up doing this long tail after the end.
All right, I'll just give them our standard Scambuster Saturday sign off.
Probably.
So,
Yeah.
is Ethereum a scam? I don't know. Do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor, and this isn't financial advice. One thing that I can tell you for sure is that at the end of the day, the only person who can prevent you from being scammed is you. Bye.